Comic-Con, Hall H, Marvel had a big spotlight on them. They covered the Fantastic Four, they covered the Thunderbolts, they gave details about Captain the Brave New World. But the big thing was that they were talking about the Avengers films. There was originally Avengers Kang Dynasty and Avengers Secret Wars. It was announced a long time ago. Daniel Destin Cretton was supposed to direct Avengers Kang Dynasty starring Jonathan Majors, and we didn't have a director for Secret Wars yet. A lot of people thought it might have been Ryan Coogler. Things in the MCU has been super up and down. The buzz around the MCU has gone down a lot, and I see them making what I would say is kind of a DCEU pivot, right? I feel like they made a DCU pivot here in terms of kind of doing something drastic. Hopefully it works out better than what the DCU did, because I trust them a lot more. And the Russo brothers are back. The Russo brothers are going to be back directing the Avengers films. Avengers now, Kang Dynasty, no longer Doomsday, starring Doctor Doom, which is awesome. A character that we've been wanting to see in the MCU brought to the proper live action for a long time. We've had multiple iterations of this character before, but unfortunately they haven't been done that great. And then when you think about Secret Wars, they're going to be doing that as well. And the Russo brothers do a really good job with the ensemble cast. They understand the universe. They understand what the fans want. With that reveal, they brought a bunch of Doom bots on here. You can see my reaction to all this on the channel and Kenny Spark channel, because we were on a live stream when it happened and we went nuts. They revealed all these Dooms, and RDJ showed his face, and he is playing Doctor Doom in Doomsday and apparently also Secret Wars. A lot of people have been wondering how this went down and what's the details about, and now we have some details about what is going down. There's a big payday in store for Robert Downey Jr. and the Russo brothers via Variety. They say $80 million for the Russo brothers to come back and direct Secret Wars and Doomsday, and $80 million plus for RDJ and more. Let's talk about RDJ first and the details of his deal. Spectacularly, like rumored, we don't have 100% numbers and things like that, but this is what the insiders are saying. RDJ deal includes perks that include private jet travel, dedicated security, and a whole trailer encampment. These are things that RDJ had when he was part of the MCU. He grossed so much of for the MCU. He's actually made $600 million off the MCU alone, but the movies have made so much money because of his presence. So it makes sense for him to request all these things. Sources say Downey, who's read by Downey, only agreed to return only if the Russo brothers were to return as well and direct both films. So he has not only put in maybe $100 million price tag in order for him to be in both these movies. He said that, hey, the Russo brothers, right? I have a relationship with them. They did a great job with me in Infinity War, Civil War, and Endgame. All those movies made $1 billion. I'm not coming back unless it's those guys. I trust them. He got his boys back in, guys that said, I'm not going to do these movies. They said they weren't going to possibly return to Marvel to almost the end of the decade. And now they're back right now in the middle of the decade, going to be directing maybe two of the biggest movies of all time. The Russo brothers, right, has had okay success outside the MCU. I think the Extraction films have been great. Gray Man has been mixed, and then they also did 21 Bridges, which was good, but they haven't reached the heights of success or the notoriety as they have with the MCU. So it's interesting that they've come back already. I know they have a film with Millie Bobby Brown under production as well. Well, their deal, obviously they get the $80 million, which is a lot of money for two films. The Russo's deal doesn't include back-end compensation. So they're not going to get any back-end compensation, which makes sense why they're getting so much up front. So this is going to be a payout for them to do the films, but any movie, any money the movie grosses at the box office, they won't have a part in. But it doesn't contain performance escalators that kick in at the $750 million mark and the $1 billion thresholds, meaning that they will get some back in if the movie hits $750 million or $1 billion. And I'm pretty sure these movies will hit that much if they do them right. The brothers will also produce two films with their AGBO banner. This marks something of a departure from Marvel, which typically doesn't work with outside producers, preferring to keep the team in-house. So usually Marvel only does Marvel produce. You only see Kevin Feige, right? Kevin Feige is a producer, and the people that are under him, we don't usually see others under him. So not only are they getting this big payday, they may get back end if they hit their compensation or performance markers, but they also have a producer credit and production credit, meaning they'll put some money in it, but they'll get some money back. So they're going to make a lot of money off this film. These two films, if they do really, really well, I think Marvel is expecting these films to maybe eclipse Avatar. I think if they can build the hype towards it right and the trailers look strong, and I think the Russo Brothers are looking for a big payday here and to bring their name up, their producer credit up as well, so they can produce higher tier films. Now, with all this said, all the numbers and all this stuff, what does this all mean? What this scares me about, like why this scares me, like this is all good. I'm glad to have these guys back in the MCU. Despite, you know, RDJ coming back and playing Doom, I'm mixed on that. I wanted a proper Victor Von Doom with a brand new actor to make it his own. But I understand that, you know, we're in the multiverse saga. We got to take a big swing. I understand the mindset of having RDJ play this character, his interactions with the rest of the MCU. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. As long as he plays the character different from how he played Tony Stark, right? But the negatives here, in terms of just the paydays and the money spent just on these three performers, this is over $200 million just on three people, right? And this is not including back end, the security, all that stuff. What is the budget for this film gonna be, right? Like if RDJ is getting like 100 million by himself, the directors are getting like 80 million by themselves. That's just them. They have to pay all the other MCU actors that are going to be in both these films, the VFX, marketing, all that. This looks like this movie may cost way too much, right? We've been talking about this from 2020 when the pandemic completely changed the box office game, and you can't just put a movie out that looks kind of cool and get people to come. We've seen multiple failures. John Wick 4 didn't meet expectations. Mission Impossible 7 didn't meet expectations. Brands that usually meet expectations. And we have other films that have just not done well. And the MCU has suffered that well. Eternals having a bloated budget. The Marvels having a bloated budget and being a disaster in terms of the box office. Ant-Man Quantumania having a bloated budget compared to the first two and not doing well at box office, only bringing like 400 million in and had like a $250 million box office. If these guys are getting like 200 million on their own, and then you include all that stuff, we're looking at something that could be like 350 minimum, right? And that's me being nice. So it scares me that like these movies are ballooning so much, because it seems like they're ballooning a lot, but we don't have more people going to the theaters, right? We have people going to the theaters and they're picking and choosing. And these might be the two movies that they pick and choose to go see, but we're not 100% sure, because I feel a lot of people are still mixed on the casting of RDJ as Dr. Doom. So it's going to be really interesting. I'm a little scared that this movie is going to cost so much and can hinder the film's rest of its budget. Maybe they might have to cut corners at certain things because they're giving these two guys so much, plus the salaries of everybody else. But I find it very, very interesting that it feels like these three have all the negotiating power. I mean, it feels like this was not always in the plan. I hope they find a way to bring Kang back in. I would hate to invest so much time into Kang's story and he's just kind of thrown to the side. But I'm really excited to see what they can do creatively to make this movie go. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys feel about RDJ coming back as Dr. Doom, returning to the MCU. Do you feel like it's desperate? Do you feel like they could do something creative with it? Or do you feel like you need to see a trailer first and see him in the costume, how he acts, if he has an accent first, to really give a decision? And are you excited for the Russo Brothers to direct these films, or did you want to see some new, fresh faces on the job? Drop all those comments down below and let me know. Like the video if you are watching this afterwards, and subscribe to the channel as well. If you're live, stay tuned. We're going to keep talking.